Okay, my name's Paul Clarke, and I'm the director of the Pop-Up Foundation, which is a not-for-profit social enterprise based in the UK, but we work internationally. And our main project is called Naturally Smart Schools and Places. So it's a place-based project that we do.
And where are we today?
Today we're in Adelaide, in a windy wind tunnel around the edge of the school. I think we're in Adelaide High School at a conference of mostly educators looking at education for sustainability.
Okay, so thinking about your future world, your perfect future world that you're going to create, what are the really important things in that for you? What's non-negotiable? What has to be part of that?
Yeah, this is such a tough question, but I think that we might just be nature's latest experiment that's gone wrong. I actually have a rather grim view of where we're heading, given what we know about the science at the moment and the climate shifts. Now, that doesn't mean to say that we don't go out with a hell of a party. And so my intention in our work is that we create the conditions that reimagine how we would live on the earth. And that therefore leads to new conditions in the future that our societies function under. So we would be much more interested in relationships and our places and understanding them as natural systems, and much less interested in them as productive, industrialized environments. So we would have transitioned, if you like, from the current obsession of ego and individualism to something perhaps a bit more stable and long-term, which is around a community of people understanding themselves in their place and how they relate to each other and the other living things around them. And that's sort of the aspiration. The reality's a bit tricky, but we can have a lot of fun trying to make that happen.
And it sounds like you're already doing it. What do we do now? Need to do now
Okay.
to that future?
Well, I think at the moment it's actually pretty mechanical, to be honest, because a lot of people need help to just bridge from where they are into just a little bit different and slowly move them into a different headspace. So in our work, we use some very basic things: energy, food, water, waste, well-being, plants, animals, soil as our starting points, and we name it. We go into an environment like a school environment and we get the kids to actually identify where those things are, and if they don't know what they're called, we get them to make it up, because by naming it you start to care about it. You actually construct a world around it, you tell stories about it, and through that we build relationships. And those are the starting points, I think, that reimagined relationship with the space, with the environments, with each other in those spaces. And then we can say, okay, what do we need to do to change it if that's something that needs to happen? So that's the starting point. And I think from what we've learned so far, it's relatively simple to do. People can achieve it. And the next steps really are to do that globally. And we're in the process now of building that network internationally, and we've got projects going on in every continent. So what we're trying to do is work out how to connect that through technologies. So we have the sort of social and cultural myriad of perspectives coming out of the different places, but they're always uniquely configured to their own place. So they're always interested in what they're doing in their space. And then the coding of that becomes interesting, because you can start to say, well, where are the patterns? Where's the flow of this? What are people doing in other places similar to this that we could explore and use back in our own environments? So we could theoretically accelerate solutions if we build sufficient material base to play with. And that's sort of what we're hypothesizing at the moment. Day to day, it's just bog standard, roll your sleeves up, getting in an environment and actually experiencing it for what it is, and appreciating its richness. And that's fun. And that could be urban, rural, desert, war zone, post-war zone, post-industrial. We've been in all of them, and the patterns are pretty much the same everywhere. So.
What's your biggest frustration? What's stopping your perfect
Negative narratives, things that just put people down all the time, tell them there isn't any hope. There's plenty of hope. And if we don't have hope, I think we might as well just give up now. Saying that, I think it's pretty dire. but the sort of dominant narrative of austerity and keeping people in their places in a current economic frame, it seems to me to be utterly ridiculous, given the way in which we could be now working as a sort of society that's globally focused. And listening to politicians go on about solutions which aren't really solutions. They're just reinventing the same old stuff all the time, and that never breaking from that narrative. So I don't spend a lot of time working or thinking about what they're up to. I am much more interested in, say, what kids are trying to do in their own home base or town or whatever, in just being in those places and thinking about where they could go with it. Yeah.
And if there was one person in the world you'd want standing next to you as you create your vision, who is it? Who's the perfect person that you want beside you?
Living or dead?
I'm sure we can reincarnate if we need to.
Yeah, we can. Of course, we can. Avatars are great, aren't they? Oh, that's really unfair. You threw that at me. Hang on a minute. You'll have to edit this.
Or not.
One person.
Who is it?
Okay. In fact, he's only just died. Bill Mollison, the founder of permaculture. And he was a grumpy old guy. I met him a couple of times. He was utterly brilliant at taking an understanding of nature and bringing it into a human practice. And he died a couple of weeks ago. And he's been massively influential on my work and my life. And I think probably we won't realise how much we miss him for a few years until we start to understand quite what he gave us.